So former NFL head coach Tony Dungy, who won a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts, he had some interesting things to say about Michael Sam, who in just a few months is going to be the first openly gay NFL player. He's already signed by the Rams and the season starts in just a couple months. Dungy told the Tampa Tribune that he wouldn't have taken Michael Sam. He actually said, not because I don't believe Michael Sam should have a chance to play, but because I wouldn't want to deal with all of it. It's not going to be totally smooth. Things will happen.
What does that mean, things will happen?
Well, I think we sort of just have to start with this, that Tony Dungy was the first black NFL coach to win a Super Bowl. So he's already done his own sort of changing of the rules and done something good for the game and something that maybe people didn't want at one time or people didn't expect. So I think the fact that it's coming from him, I think is partly what has people annoyed in the first place, but we can get to that after. So what does he mean? I think what he's saying really is that he knows that this is going to be like a major media bonanza all season long, and whether Michael Sam's playing or not, or whether he's playing well or not, that the scrutiny on the team is going to be that much more. And he's just saying, as a coach, I wouldn't want to deal with it. So let's start with that part, because
I would argue that that's a cowardly way to deal with this situation.
Yeah.
I think that a strong person and a strong coach would welcome that type of challenge and would want to be known as someone who plays part in this huge revolution when it comes to sports. You know, considering the fact that there were no openly gay NFL members prior to this incident, makes me realize, like, anyone who is willing to accept this player with open arms is honestly a key player in a huge change in the NFL, in the best possible way. So, like, yeah, there are going to be some challenges. I don't know what he's referring to specifically, but sure, you're going to get a little hate from the right wing. Sure, you might have to worry about some players being uncomfortable in the locker room.
I don't even think it's about, I think there's going to be so little of that.
Yeah.
I really do. I think the gay thing the ship has sailed. People just simply don't care anymore on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, you got your hardcore right-wingers, but besides that, people don't. I think the locker room is going to be fine. I think he's purely talking about the media and that he feels like it would be a distraction.
Is he paying attention to what's happening with gay rights in the country? Because from what I can recall, if you're anti-gay, you're going to deal with a shitstorm, right? If you're going out of your way to say negative things about the gay community, you're going to be attacked. But if you are willing to accept a gay player into the NFL, you're going to get nothing but love. Yes, there's going to be some criticism. Of course, we still have to deal with the right wing, the most conservative people in the country. But regardless of that, I mean, you have major companies like Burger King going out of their way to create rainbow Whoppers to support gay rights. Yeah, the gay Whopper. And the reason why they're doing it is because they realized, hey, this is good for our business. It's great. So he has nothing, I mean, he had nothing to worry about. And I think that he got scared, and it shows that he was a little bit of a coward.
Yeah, and by the way, he's not even a coach currently. He's an analyst, which makes it a little more bizarre. But JR, I want to get you in on this, because every time there's a gay story, TYT has to go to me. So every time there's a black story, I feel we have to go to you. You are African American, am I? Is that correct?
That is the last time I checked. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So now, as a representative of all African Americans, what do you make of the racial angle to this? Because people did make a big deal of that when he won the Super Bowl. That was a big thing. This was the first African American coach. So obviously he knows something about breaking down barriers. So shouldn't he have more empathy to Michael Sam?
You would think. It is the thing, and I think the first thing people wonder about is whether or not it's valid. His concerns and what, there's going to be situations, and I think he said he's going to have to deal with. Things will happen, I think was the quote. Yeah, that's exactly. So, by the way, I agree. Things will happen. That's the thing. It will happen. So, if you don't want to deal with it, now that just becomes a slight on you and maybe your preparation or your willingness to deal with. Now, if people say, "Oh my God, he's a gay player, nothing's going to happen." No, something's going to happen. There's going to be problems. There's going to be someone that's going to have an issue. And if they don't, they're going to have it simmering underneath, and they're going to maybe take it out a different way. There's a mentality that's been, I think, facilitated in locker rooms where they're like, oh, there's a gay guy in here, and by the way, there's always been a gay guy in there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it has existed, but now you know. So there's people that are uncomfortable. They need to be educated. These football players are part of society. Basketball players are part of society. Just because they're in the locker room doesn't mean that they should be immune to this. So that's the good part about this. Now, if you don't want to deal with it, that's up to you. But I don't think people should necessarily jump on him and say, how dare you say that? It's true what he said, but you're kind of a weak person for not being ready to take it on.
Right, so I think that's pretty much what Anna's saying. But what do you think about the racial part of it? The part that he broke down certain barriers himself, so he should be more sensitive to a gay person trying to break down barriers.
Yeah, well, that's just human nature. Not no one, but a lot of people, they only think of their own struggle. They go, oh, well, that's what I had to deal with. That's nothing like what I had to deal with, because you still want to continue to keep yours as the main struggle you dealt with. You guys don't deal with the same thing we dealt with, because what we dealt with was different for these ways. And of course there's differences, but the similarities are what the basis for what this guy's gonna have to deal with are doing. And by the way, he's a black gay man, so he's dealing with both sides of it, if we're gonna talk about both.
From both ends.
Damn.
So to speak. Do you think Michael Sam maybe is, that was unnecessary. Do you think that Michael Sam's maybe bringing some of the scrutiny on himself? Because he also has a documentary that's going to follow him throughout the season on the OWN channel. Mm-hmm. So this guy he's someone that's opening up his life and the locker room. So he is going to get double scrutiny here.
Yeah, I think that anytime you make yourself a public figure, you're opening yourself up to scrutiny, but I think that he's dealing with it appropriately. And he strikes me as a really strong, resilient individual. So good for him.
So there you go.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's going to happen. There, as JR said, there always were gay people in the locker room, and there's always going to be gay people in the locker room. And hopefully he does this, and then 5 gay guys come out next season and nobody even cares about it, and then Tony Dungy won't have anything to
And
worry
by the
about.
way, ESPN is going to ask the questions. Fox Sports is going to ask the questions. They're going to be in the locker room, and they're going to maybe try and dance around and be like, so how was your first week as an openly gay player? Believe me, Michael Sam wants to be an NFL player, And yeah, sure, he'll maybe capitalize on some of the benefits of this, but they're going to be pushing this too because they want that attention as well. They want to report on it.
Ratings? You think it's about ratings? I can't believe it.